Hello, this is Patrick Burke, and I am here to share with you my first case study as a data analyst. This is called the Cyclistic case study, and it's about converting casual members of a bike sharing service to members. That is the business task. So this is part of the Google Data Analytics Certificate Program, and I chose case study number one, the bike sharing, as I said. So in my presentation today, I will show you the questions I was asked and give you my key findings, and then talk a little bit about the methods for anyone who's interested. Okay, so the scenario is there is a fictional bike sharing company called Cyclistic, and their marketing director, Lily Moreno, is my direct supervisor. And to grow the company, she believes that we need to convert casual riders to members in 1 or 2 year contracts. And the company wants to implement a new digital media marketing campaign based on the findings of this study. Okay, so the business questions from the marketing team are, number one, how do annual members and casual riders use this bike service differently? Number two, why would casual riders buy cyclistic annual memberships? In what scenarios can we imagine them doing that, right? And then number three, how can Cyclistic use digital media to influence casual riders to become members? So I was asked to focus on this first question and answer it. So that's what I did. I analyzed how casual riders and members used the service or the bike sharing service differently. Furthermore, I was asked to give these 6 deliverables back to the team, clear statement of the business task, a description of all the data sources that we used, documentation of any cleaning or manipulation of data, a summary, supporting visualizations, and then my top 3 recommendations based on the analysis. All right, so to answer this primary question, how do annual members and casual riders use Cyclistic differently? I decided to compare trends of usage with the following parameters. The frequency of rides over the day, so over the time of day, over the week, the days of the week, and the year, right, from month to month. And we would be comparing casual riders and members on these intervals. And I will also compare the length of rides over the course of a week. So, are rides on Sunday longer than rides on Wednesday? Questions like that. And then finally, I'll take a look at the location of the rides and see what we can learn about distinguishing factors for members and casual riders based on location. So I was given CSV files at the beginning of the case study, and this is basically the description of what all of them looked like, 1 per month. So the columns would be, a ride ID, a rideable type, so the type of bike, when they started and ended, the date and time, the station name and ID for the start time and the end station as well, and then the latitude and longitude of the start station and the end station. And then finally, I have very importantly, distinction between members and casual riders, okay, as another column, as a text. Well, with all of this information, I was able to come up with these graphics. So firstly, we're comparing usage over days of the week. So members are in yellow, the yellow bars, and blue for casual. So we can see that the days of the week, by the way, are numbered 1 through 7, Sunday through Saturday. So we can see that for members, they obviously they ride more towards the middle of the week, right? As we can see, going up to day 4 or 5, 5 being the highest with over 328,000 rides. And you can see that the casual members are roughly the inverse of this. So they have more rides. They use the service more on Sundays and Saturdays. And throughout the week, you can see that it's lower. So that's one difference between members and casual riders, which seems to indicate that the members use it for getting to and from work, and that casual members may, again, just because of the frequency based on the day of the week, that the casual members may use it more for recreation. Okay, so now we're taking a look at the week again, but this time the average ride length, right? So as you can see, casual members typically ride for longer, right? That's the ride length in seconds on the left there. So yeah, so casual members definitely take longer rides in general, and you can see it's most pronounced on the weekends, right? On day 1 and 7. And members, you can see in yellow, they don't change that much. There's a little bit difference on weekends, but it's basically a quite flat line there. Okay, so this also reinforces the idea, I think, that casual members are using this more for leisure and members are using it more for work. Okay, so now let's look at the time of day comparison. We can really get in there and see the details of when people are riding. And you can see that for the morning and evening rush hour, in yellow anyway, for the members, there's definite peaks there, right? Between, I want to say 7 and 8 in the morning, and then later around 5 for evening rush hour, you see these big spikes, right? Which also suggests that, again, members are using the bikes for work. For casual members, there's what looks like maybe a little bump around 8 o'clock, but not really. What you do see, though, is that there is definitely a bump among casual riders for the evening rush hour. So this suggests to me that it's possible that this is just a later time of day, a more popular time to ride, regardless of your purpose. But it does seem to indicate to me that it's definitely possible that some of these casual riders are also using it for work because you're riding much more around the evening rush hour. Finally, we're taking a look at usage over months. So we have from July of 2023 until January 2024. We have, again, members in yellow, casuals in blue, and you can see that they're roughly parallel to each other, right? There's not a ton of difference, just the fact that there are more member rides than casual rides all throughout. But as you can see, the trend over this part of the year is that it is much more utilized during the hot months, right? July, August, September. And you can see that they both for members and casual riders, there's a severe drop off in October. And you'll notice, strangely, that it goes up a little bit in November. And so I checked the weather. This happens to be Chicago, by the way, when we look at the locations, which we'll do next. Again, fictional company and everything, but the data is some real data from an actual bike sharing company in Chicago. And anyway, to explain the November bump, I looked at the history of the weather, and sure enough, November was a particularly warm month in Chicago in 2023. So I believe that explains it. But anyway, no real surprises here. Everybody uses bikes more in warmer weather. So to answer the question, how do annual members, casual riders use Cyclistic differently? Casual riders use the bikes more on the weekend, and their trips are longer on the weekend as well. Casual riders use bikes most during the afternoon rush hour. That's when we see the peak. And then all users tend to ride more in the warmer months. Okay. So now let's take a look at the geography. So as I said, this is real data from Chicago. And as you can see, if casual members are marked in blue and members in yellow, you can see the big blue circles that are roughly clustered around the water, right? Around the shore, around the kind of historic district, the harbor, museums, the aquarium. So in other words, things that are more associated with leisure, which kind of makes sense because we said that the casual riders ride more probably for leisure. There's definite overlap, obviously. You can see a lot of yellow overlapping with casual members, but notice that the yellow is rather spread out more and it's a little bit further inland, which is more where the business district would be in New York, in Chicago, not New York. And then finally, I can zoom in a bit more. This is Navy Pier in Chicago, and you can see clearly that the blue, the representing casual, there's just a lot more of it right around here, right around the Museum of Contemporary Art, Northwestern University, and around the pier. Okay, so asked to answer, this first question with the following deliverables. I'm just going to review that again. Clear statement of the business task was to answer that question of how casual and members use Cyclistic differently. Number two, description of all data sources used, which is always something that as a data analyst you would need to account for. In this exercise, Google provided the data in the form of these CSV files, and they told us to assume the data was accurate and secure, so there was no issue with that. Number three, documentation. The process, I'm going to give you some documentation after this, just showing you how I cleaned and manipulated the data, and a summary of my analysis, which I already just gave you. The supporting visualizations also I just gave you. And finally, I would like to give my top three recommendations based on this analysis. So my top three are if we have GPS-based marketing, if that is available, then we want to advertise traditional membership in the business district and the financial district to convert casual riders who use it for work. As we said, you can see a clear pattern of even the casual riders using this more towards afternoon rush hour. So I would like to think that those are really just pre-members, who need to be reassured or reminded of the financial incentive, that they would have to become members. Number two, again, if we have GPS-based marketing, promote a new weekend-only membership for casual riders and promote it in the cultural and recreational locations. Because that's obviously where they are, and weekend is obviously the busiest time. So we could take advantage of that. Number three, to promote a new summer adventures membership package for warm weather months when bike use is strongest among all user types. And from there, who knows, maybe you could think of a way to convert them into annual memberships. So that's it. I will post another video explaining the documentation. I don't want this video to go for too long, but that is my first data analysis case study. Thank you for listening.